So let me get this straight. Democrats are supposedly upset because Republicans are violating a precedent. So in return, Democrats want to make D.C. a state, abolish the filibuster, and add 3 more seats to the Supreme Court because it's good to keep precedents. What?
But my second thought was the liberals that have taught me these good values growing up all my life are total hypocrites.
What is going on, guys? Vince Dow back here with another video. And on Friday, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg tragically passed away. Obviously, rest in peace. But the immediate hours following her death already sparked intense, heated political debate over filling that seat. President Donald Trump has already announced that he's going to nominate someone and wants to see them get through. But Democrats and some Republicans in the Senate, you know, I'll say the rhino ones, are not very happy with that. Of course, in typical leftist fashion, many of them have already threatened violence over the issue, saying that if Republicans even try to put someone on that seat, they're going to burn their things down and riot. Now, I personally 100% think we should fill that seat. We have the White House, we have the Senate. Why wouldn't you try to get a conservative Supreme Court justice up there? It seems pretty simple. But of course, many Democrats and some Republicans have argued that we should not do it because in 2016, the Republican Senate refused to vote on Obama's Supreme Court justice nominee because it was an election year, and obviously this is an election year. Now, I'm sure you guys have all already heard that argument, so I don't feel the need to go too deeply into it, but what I will say is this: they are not the same thing. All right. You see, in 2016, different parties held the White House and the Senate. The Democrats held the White House, the Republicans held the Senate. So obviously, when the parties are divided along the Senate and the White House, since you need both, it's going to be a lot harder to get a Supreme Court justice through. It's not hard or complicated to see why an opposition-led Senate would want to try to delay a president's Supreme Court nominee. Had Mitt Romney been president in 2016, the Democrats would have certainly done the same thing because it's an election year. They have time to stall. They don't want to get that justice through. Obviously, there is room open for that delay. Okay, no one is shocked by that. No one is surprised in that. By the way, in real life 2016, had Democrats held the Senate while Obama was president, Democrats would have certainly pushed their judge through. No one disputes this. No one argues this. Back then, Obama nominated someone. Back then, Chuck Schumer was trying to get the judge through. So let's be 100% clear about this. The precedent that the Republican Party tried to set in 2016, precedent, quote unquote, was not that you cannot put justices through on election year. There have been countless times, I think over 20 in American history, where a judge has gone through on election year. But you'd have to go back to like the 1800s to see an instance in which a judge went through on election year with divided parties. Obviously, when one party holds the White House, the other party holds the Senate, that Senate can and probably will use their full discretion to try to block the next nominee coming through. If Mitt Romney was president in 2016 and Democrats held the Senate, Democrats would have blocked his Supreme Court nominee as well because different parties held the White House and the Senate. This is not that complicated. Obviously, when one party holds the White House and the other holds the Senate, it's much harder to get a judge through. Now, in real life 2016, when Obama was president, had Democrats held the Senate, they would have just put their judge through because, again, this is the precedent. When the same party holds the White House and the Senate, there really is no delay. You just go through with the judge. But when different parties hold the White House and the Senate, obviously the party that holds the Senate is going to not want to get that judge through, prefer not to get that judge through. And so if there is room, such as like an election coming up or something like that, you should not be surprised when the party that holds the Senate tries to find an excuse to delay. Is it political? Yes. Is it way outside of the realm of normal political precedent? No. You know, as Republicans, as conservatives, if we're not sure of whether or not we should put this judge through, then let's consider this. What would Democrats do if they were in our position? Okay, so let's say it's 2020. Hillary Clinton won the White House. The Democrats held the Senate right now. What would President Hillary Clinton do? Well, it's not that complicated. It's not that complicated to think about at all. They'd immediately put the judge through. They'd immediately nominate a judge, and they'd immediately try to hold a vote on it, and nobody disputes this. So just so we're clear, they can accuse Senate Republicans of hypocrisy all they want, but the reality is, if Democrats were in the same position that we are right now, they would have easily decided, no contest, 100% put a judge through with zero delay. Okay, if they were in our position, they do the exact same thing. So why exactly are Republicans so hesitant to do exactly what the Democrats would do in this position? I'm not sure. I think a lot of Republicans don't have guts. They're scared to take bold action. But if you want to talk about playing fair, if Democrats held the White House and the Senate in 2016 or 2020, either scenario, they easily would have put a judge through. That's it. There's no contest. How could anyone argue that? I mean, people try to make this complicated argument about precedent and all that, but it's really not that complicated. The president nominates the Supreme Court justices. The Senate confirms them. It's a basic part of the system of checks and balances that if the Senate does not like the president, does not agree with the president, does not agree who the president nominated, the Senate has discretion to decide, no, we don't want to put the Supreme Court justice through, whether we're going to vote no or we're going to delay the vote. That's how it works. So yes, is it partisan? Is it political? Of course it is. But that's the system. That's the game. If the Senate doesn't agree with the president, obviously it's going to be harder to put a Supreme Court justice through. If the Senate does agree with the president, like they do right now, obviously they're going to be more inclined to put that Supreme Court justice through. Why is it so complicated? And as I'll say again, while Democrats go on these moralistic virtue signaling rants about playing fair, following the precedent, as if the past 4 years they've shown any regard for precedent. Let's be clear about this. If Democrats were in this exact same position, they would do the same thing. We don't have to speculate about that because not only can you just see it, it's pretty obvious, but that's what they tried to do in 2016. So just to be clear, they're asking us to follow a so-called precedent that they would not actually follow themselves. And just to be clear, the so-called precedent that Senate Republicans laid out in 2016 was not that we cannot have votes or nominations of Supreme Court justices during election years. It was that when the White House and the Senate, are divided, the Senate may choose to go against the president and simply decide not to put that justice through. I mean, again, conservatives, if you have any hesitation on this, let's be clear. It is a constitutionally laid out process that when there's vacancies on the Supreme Court, the president nominates, the Senate confirms, or chooses not to confirm. That's checks and balances. So putting a justice through is the system. But what are Democrats doing? Democrats are upset that the system is not working for them, and they are the ones actually working to change the system. So they have said that they want to make DC a state. Obviously, that's a terrible idea, but the only reason they want to do it is because they will add 2 automatically Democrat senators to the Senate, making it virtually impossible for Republicans to ever hold the Senate ever again. Number 2, they've said when they take power, they want to abolish the filibuster so that everything they want simply gets passed. You can't stop it. And most importantly, number 3, because they don't like the fact that the Supreme Court is filled with conservatives, they have vowed that when they take power, they're going to add more seats to the Supreme Court so that they can fill them with liberal justices. And of course, don't forget that AOC and others are already talking about impeaching Trump again, so that he simply can't get this justice through. Okay, so they want to impeach Trump to stop him from doing a constitutionally legal mandated process of trying to put a judge on the Supreme Court. And despite all of these public goals, what is the new talking point of the Democratic Party? Oh, it's this. Republicans don't have any principles. They just want power. Oh, how ironic that is. So listen, guys, in conclusion here, if you are hesitant about whether or not we should put Amy Barrett or whoever it ends up being on the Supreme Court, let's consider this. Despite everything they say about precedent, even though they don't actually understand the precedent that they're talking about, despite everything they say about precedent, if Democrats were in the same position that we are in now, they would not think twice about doing the exact same thing. On top of that, while Democrats talk about the importance of preserving tradition and precedents, they have already publicly vowed radical changes to the American system of governance simply to give them more power. See, this is the thing about the left. They don't care about ethics or morals or anything else. They only care about winning, about getting what they want. So if that means abolishing the filibuster, but only when they're in power, okay, they're going to do it once they're in power. See, they don't care about that. They're just in it to win. Now, while I do think often taking the moral high ground is important, some conservatives do indeed need to grow some guts. Look, we're not asking you to rob a bank or kill a guy. We're asking you to do your constitutionally mandated and legal process of voting yes on a Supreme Court nominee, okay? It's not that crazy. It's not that ridiculously out of line. Now, I don't think that it makes you a hypocrite, but if you think that it does, even if you think that it does, consider this. The other side does not care about those standards, okay? It's a famous saying because it's true. If the left didn't have double standards, they wouldn't have any, because they are willing constantly. This is the difference. This is the difference between the two. They are willing to constantly contradict themselves and do whatever so long as it's most convenient in the moment. And yet some people on our side are so scared of just looking like a hypocrite that they won't take action on something as important as the Supreme Court. Okay, we're talking about the whole Second Amendment being on the line. I mean, look at the liberal dissent in DC versus Heller, okay, 2008. We almost lost the Second Amendment if we didn't have a Supreme Court. That's how important the Supreme Court is. We're talking about possibly, I mean, who knows if the new court would even have the guts, but our one chance, our best shot we have at overturning Roe v. Wade, saving millions, tens of millions of babies. I mean, I don't like the way it is, but it's the reality. The Supreme Court is now God when it comes to the Constitution. We are talking about people that can completely rewrite and redefine what the Constitution means. That's how important the Supreme Court is, and some of you are scared of once contradicting yourself, of once having a double standard. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Anyways, that'll do it here today for this video. Those are just some of my preliminary thoughts on the Supreme Court. We'll probably be making several videos about different arguments on this. It's going to probably develop a lot more in the next few days. But for now, that's what I have for you. Fill that seat. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Remember, until then, alpha moves only. Peace out. Fill the seat.